everyone. Welcome back to another Cosmic Chats with Court. I hope everyone is doing well. I know that there's a lot of energy circulating in the sky and people are starting to feel the eclipse season, and we're going to talk about it a little bit today. I'm going to make a different video on that. However, today we're going to talk about what is ahead for the month of Scorpio season, essentially. So Scorpio season is between October and November. So we're going to kind of cover what's going on for Scorpio season and how you can work with that energy. Now, before I get started, obviously, if you guys are new to my channel, you will have not known this, but I talk about astrology, spirituality, manifestation, anything that's kind of going on in my mind, any insights or anything that I really want to share. I do share vlogs as well. I really love creating. I am a creator at heart, and I just love creating basically anything from life. So that's what I do on this channel. On Wednesdays, I upload a Cosmic Chats. On Sunday, I upload a vlog. You can also find me over on TikTok, which has been blowing up. And I share lots of different insights and information around astrological things. So if you want to come check that out, that is there for you to see. It's iamcourtburns on TikTok and iamcourtburns on Instagram. And then my business is Bravely Beautiful Brand, which you can also find in the links below or at Bravely Beautiful Brand on Instagram. Okay, before we get into this Scorpio season and what it's all about, I also want to just share that, as I just mentioned, we're coming into eclipse season. So I actually reached out to everybody on Instagram and I was like, would you guys want to do like a live call for the eclipses? And I can kind of like demonstrate and teach you what I'm seeing in the charts and some ways that you can work with this. And everyone said yes. So I will also link below the eclipse link so that you can come to that session if you want. It's $11.11, super affordable. Obviously, that's like very low investment, but I wanted to create a space that was like kind of bringing people together in a bit of a circle, and we can ask questions and I can answer your questions or whatever feels good to you. So all of that will be down below in the comments. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you're notified when I post. Now, all of that done, said, out of the way, we're moving into eclipse season here. For starters, I'm going to let everybody know that this is going to be happening very close to my moon. My moon is in Scorpio. So all my Scorpio moon babies out there, we're going to have a lunar return, an eclipse on our moon. This hasn't happened in a very long time. So that's kind of, I'm just having that thought come to me right now. That's life-changing. For sure. It's going to be very life-changing, but we're Scorpio energy. We can deal with it, right? Anyhow, what I do want to say is that obviously, you know, everyone's charts are so different. So that's why it's really helpful to see an astrologer and you can kind of go through this with them. I know there are people out there doing specific eclipse season readings if you want to connect with them, or if you just want to have a deep dive into a transit reading. I mean, you can book through me or go see your astrologer that you are really connected with, and you can ask about where these eclipses are happening for you specifically. Now, let's talk a little bit about what is going to go on during this season. I'm actually going to show you guys this trick. So let me just share with you. I share this with a lot of the my mentor clients that I have. There is a website and it's called Cafe Astrology. And you can they have done a great job at listing a lot of the main transits throughout the month. And so you can actually pull this up for yourself and you can see all of this pieces of information. This is a really great way to start learning and help you learn. And then also you can kind of like track as you go along. So this is a really great resource to use. I use them. I love them. And it's just super helpful to know, right? Like it kind of gives you a breakdown of specific things. So today we're going to go through some of this, and I'm going to explain to you the transits that I'm really interested in over the Scorpio season in the next month. And, we'll just dive more into it as we normally do. We'll have a little chat / riff. Okay, so let's start off. So obviously we start off Scorpio season with the sun moving into Scorpio. So we're moving out of that Libra energy that's really about balance and harmony and kind of keeping the peace. We've been seeing a lot of things pop up around conversation around obviously things collectively in the world that are connected to legal things. We've also seen conversations coming up, a lot of conversation coming up around like the war, and just there's been this like sort of an in between the storm sort of feel, or like the eye of the storm. I don't know if that's the right phrase, but like just sort of being in the middle and not necessarily having an up or a down. I don't want to be a fearmonger, and I also want to be very realistic with the astrology and like what energy it's saying. And Scorpio season is never one that is super easy to go through anyway, because it acts like I'm gonna, like tear the pull up the rug, and all the secrets that are underneath are gonna be exposed. So it can be very triggering, it can be very uncomfortable. It's meant to be. That's the thing. Like that's one of the reasons why I think Scorpio gets such a bad rap, is because it's often really intense and makes people uncomfortable. There's like a discomfort in the energy. Scorpio energy is not scared to say the things that others are. They're not scared to, start again. Like they have fear and they do it anyway. They have this like very phoenix archetype, even the snake, like rebirth, death, rebirth, right? So there's a energy with Scorpio that's like, even if it sucks, like I'm going to find a way to rebuild this sort of thing. And that happens within all of our lives and in the collective. So we get 4 weeks of the sun being in this sign. The sun in Scorpio is meant to be a time of year where we transform, where we really let things go, right? It's fall on this side of the world where I am. And so really noticing, like letting go, shedding, releasing what is no longer coming in, right? We just had this harvest season. We've got a lot of things like coming to us to support us as we move through the colder and longer months. And it's the opportunity of Scorpio is like, let it go, let that shit go that cannot come with you. And it's amplified because we have eclipses here. Now, let me just tell you when the dates are. So the sun will actually move into the sign of Scorpio on October 23rd at 6:35 a.m. I think this is what time zone is this? I think it's a universal, or it could be Eastern. But anyway, it's 6:35 a.m. and it'll be at 0 degrees. So that's when we have an ingress. So the sun is ingressing into the sign of Scorpio. Same day, we have Juno moving direct. For those of you who don't know what Juno is, Juno to me is like this magnetic field that shows us the people that we're attracted to. It's an asteroid, so it kind of amplifies the energy of those that we're attracting into our lives. It's been in the sign of Pisces, and so Pisces, we're connecting with more people who are more on an energetic spiritual level. That's sort of how I read that energy, and so Juno will be going direct at this time. That vibe kind of gives me this, like, they're both in water signs. Like the sun is going to be highlighting this like deep feeling energy. Like we're going from a lot of air into water, and so a lot of it is like emotional, right? And so maybe those emotional connections are going to be very we're going to notice them a lot more moving forward. Okay, we're also going to have the eclipse. So it's a new moon solar eclipse. It's a partial one. 6:49 a.m. at 2 degrees of Scorpio on October 25th. If you have a fixed sign, Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, you are going to feel this. You are already probably feeling this immensely. It's big energy. It's causing us, I say us because I also have this, to create the change that we've been either resisting, or it just takes longer for fixed signs to change. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. The solar eclipse is happening in this area of our charts where Scorpio is. That means the moon and the sun will be together, creating a new moon. It's the darkest part of the sky, and it's going to be turned up to max. You know those like thermometers that are like basically when we have like fire warnings that are like all the way at red zone? Like we are in the red zone here, okay? It's heightened energy. I personally try my best not to drive when the moon's in Scorpio because I get a lot of road rage. My moon is also in Scorpio in the 8th house. And I just notice a lot going on energetically. And so I would like people to know that sometimes with this energy, what it can feel like is needing to be a little bit reclusive and in your own space because it feels so much, okay? Scorpio energy can be very passionate and intense, and so people are going to be feeling that way around this eclipse. If you work in a school, if you work in a hospital, if you work with the public, this is going to be a heightened time. It is a new moon, so yes, there are new things brewing in this area of our charts, which I actually think, like, again, I'll go into that chart in a different video. But I actually do think that this is helpful because it's exposing a lot of secrets or hidden things that have probably been hidden that now we can start to move forward and be like, okay, how can I clean this up and help myself have a new cycle in the Scorpio area? Remembering that Scorpio rules things like debt, taxes, inheritances, money, financial aspects, taboo subjects, sex, mental health, subconscious psychology, metaphysics, like all of these things that our world is kind of like, floop, floop, you know, like this is what comes out during Scorpio season. It wants to experience like a deep, 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 deep connection. Okay, so it really goes to the depths to figure out what that is. So this new moon is bringing up like there's a new beginning here, right? Which is great. It's an eclipse. Do we manifest? The answer is no. You're going to sit back and just allow this energy to take you where it's taking you. The Scorpio is the deepest part of the ocean. It's the darkness. It's everything that's underneath that you can't see. So if you're surfing, all right, not the best surfer, but I do like surfing. I think it's really fun and I enjoy it the times I've been. But you need to use your intuition to know when to go and when to pop up on your board and feel when that wave takes you. You're going to need to get really quiet and understand what your intuition is saying to you this season, especially around the eclipses. Let the wave take you where it's trying to take you. Do not fight it. It is a fixed sign. It's going to try and fight it, but we've been having a square to Uranus. You can no longer fight this. Like, we need Saturn and Uranus are like, no more fighting this change. Like, the change needs to happen. So you can look to see where Scorpio is in your chart, what house it rules. That's where this new moon will be. And there will be a beginning of something new here. And remember, this is like on steroids. It's turned up the dial. So a normal new moon would bring in specific, themes here. And then now it's like, we're going to turn up the dial and make this happen a lot faster than what we would normally have. So it's going to be like hyper speed. That's 100%. It's also really common for people to see manifestations come through from the past during eclipse season. I've seen that happen before, but also eclipses, they eclipse things. They take things out, right? So whatever is not in alignment, gotta go so we can really move forward, okay? Now, that can be really challenging because sometimes that does, especially in Scorpio, mean an ending of a life. And new ones begin. So I just want to say this as like, it doesn't always mean that, but it can mean that. And so just really making sure there's an emotional, you're supporting yourself through your emotions during this time. Okay. We also have Jupiter retrograde enter Pisces. So this is the last time we are going to experience Jupiter and Pisces for our lifetime. I actually just learned that today. Jupiter is going to go back to Pisces where it was the primarily all of 2021 or end of 2021. Jupiter's been in Aries for a bit, but it's going to go back to Pisces and it's going to go pick something up that it forgot. We're going to notice that's another water element. It's not fire. So it's connected to emotions and healing and feeling and spirituality and the expansion of our consciousness and the desire to want to travel. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people taking trips to the end of this year. I predicted that actually. I was like, I feel like next Christmas, because everyone's Christmases have been wild, like next year, end of the year, I feel like a lot of people are going to be like gone away and like traveling even more than they normally would have prior. But Jupiter going back into Pisces, I really like. I think that's a amazing part of this. I do, however, think there's going to be a lot of water, a lot of rain. It's going to be we're going to notice people getting more snow in places that they don't normally. Like, I think this element of water, and yeah, I just think that's going to be a big theme with that. So that is something interesting to notice. And that's going to stay there till the end of, I think it moves back to Aries in December. On the 29th of October, we've got Mercury entering Scorpio. So Mercury and Scorpio people have like the darkest humor. It's like funny, but like not, because you're like, oh, should I be laughing at that? They also have the ability to think super deeply about things. Gary Vee has this in his chart. I know a lot of people have Mercury and Scorpio, and their minds tend to go to places that are darker in a sense, or hidden, and they can think of solutions and research things and go to the core. It's very psychological based. Mercury and Scorpio, I will say for all of us, we will be having probably heightened awareness around what we are feeling on a deep subconscious level. This energy is going to be great for going to something more than just talk therapy. I think that this can bring up a lot of mental health stuff, especially just given what's happening with the planets and our energy and all this stuff. So I feel like getting in spaces like breath work or getting in spaces like deep energy healing at this time can be really, really good for this. Connecting into something like tapping, even like getting deep into the core and allowing your mind to kind of access those maybe even hidden traumas. Actually, I will plug Lacey Phillips to be magnetic. I think with Mercury and Scorpio, starting your month off in November could be a great time to dive into her work. They use like hypnosis and different types of things to access old memories, which could be really great for Mercury and Scorpio. Something I like about Mercury Scorpio is like people are going to be telling, you're going to be telling them how they feel. They're going to be telling them how they feel, and they're going to speak how they feel. But like it's going to be intense. There's going to be intense conversations coming up. Okay. The end of the month, Mars is going to retrograde. Mars will be retrograde in Gemini. This is going to be very interesting. We will notice our energy pull back. So we might not have as much energy as at this time. We're going back to something, revising something. This is a very long transit. So we're going to have this until March 25th of 2023. So this is quite an extended period of time. Okay. So it's going to take some time. What I will say is that something I like about Mars retrograde is that it is going to give us the opportunity to slow down a little bit. But the image I get is almost like when you're doing training at the gym and like someone's got one of those bands around you and you're like trying to run against the band. You're not going anywhere fast, but you're still gaining momentum and you're building something with the process you are making. It's just not happening maybe as fast as you'd like. Mars retrograde as well is probably there's gonna be some stuff. It's in Gemini, so possibly with technology and also our transportation, which is going to be very interesting. I also think because Mars is anger and aggression, and it is the god of war in the sign of Gemini, there is going to be a lot more conversation. People quickly sharing information that's like just abrupt and like kind of like fighting words in a sense. There is this factor of like having conversation and debate with Mars in Gemini, but now that it's retrograde, I feel like it's probably going to manifest in a little bit of a different way. Not as appealing as if it was direct, we'll say. That could also, I think that travel around the holidays there might be some stuff with travel there. Okay. Then we're going to go into the month of November, and basically right away on November 8th, we start, so not right away, but as we move into the month, we have the full moon lunar eclipse. It's a total lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus. This is really big. This feels huge. This is eclipsing something out of our Taurus house, and the Taurus area of our charts have been undergoing it. We've been really, really experiencing this. Like, this is massive, okay? Oh, you know what actually I didn't mention in here? Oh, because it happens right before, I think. Yeah, okay, I'm going to come back to that. But what I didn't mention actually is I'm going to be talking about this on my Instagram, but there's going to be a Venus and Venus Sun Cazimi, and it's right before we go into Scorpio season. So I should mention this. This is rare. This doesn't happen all the time. And so Venus and the Sun are creating a Cazimi. The noise effect I used for this on my TikTok was like a switch or a change. I don't know why, but that's what I thought. So they're going to be kissing and changing. That's sort of the way that I like to see that. But essentially this is going to be really interesting how it plays out. I think it is in terms of our relationships, the love relationships. But I actually see this as being more connected to our values and on a mundane level or like collective level in astrology. I think this is really going to bring out some news around finances, our money, especially with that eclipse in Scorpio. Like, I think there's going to be a heightened awareness around finances and the financial markets, crypto, investments. One of the things I actually heard was like how in the US, the government is actually like you can be forgiven debt forgiveness for your student loans, which I really wish they would bring that to Canada because I think that that's amazing. And so like something like that's super helpful, creating more balance and harmony. So I actually think that the Venus Cazimi is probably going to help prior to that eclipse. But anyway, let's go back to the full moon lunar eclipse, which is in Taurus. We already had an eclipse in Taurus, and that was 6 months ago during the month of May. And so you can think back 6 months ago, what was going on. Again, it's in that area of your chart that has to do with Taurus. So what do you value, right? Uranus has been there creating this feeling of like you probably wanting more freedom in the way that you make your money, the way that you bring in resources for yourself. There's been a lot of changes when it comes to our gas, our natural resources, our land, like literally look at the environment. Like these are all Taurus subjects. And yes, Taurus also rules things like material goods and like wanting more pleasure. And we do want that. The North Node is there. We're kind of being drawn back to like the pleasure as being part of like what we need is, and it can be so simple, like the simple things in life, like putting your feet in grass or the earth, as well as like allowing ourselves to be like, actually, like I want to get my nails done. I want to buy that. Like that's okay if it's coming from a place that is soul rooted and not ego based. And Taurus North Node is really reminding us of this. But with this eclipse here, we have already had a solar eclipse here, which was powerful. And I can't remember. I think that was actually the end of 2020, but there was a Taurus eclipse and we had like a massive flooding here in BC. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was something with our world or our earth that we do see, and maybe flooding is part of that since there's so much water energy. So just keeping that in mind. But again, you're going to want to look and see where Taurus is in your chart. And this is where this moon will be. I have Taurus in my second house. So my financial world has been going up and down, up and down, up and down with Uranus here. And it's really been asking me to choose the new way, which has been challenging, especially with the square to Saturn. But you can set, when you have an eclipse here, like it's a total lunar eclipse, like something might have to go here that will actually allow me and help me to have more freedom. Or something could be coming to fruition here. So I'm trying not to be scared of it. These two areas of my chart tend to give me a little bit more anxiety, but I do think that whatever is happening, it's actually going to help me moving forward, just like it will for all of you as well. And that's at 16 degrees. So if you have any planets at 16 degrees, or you have anything in Taurus at 16 degrees, or fixed signs at 16 degrees especially, this will be affecting you. As we move through the month of November, we've got Venus in Sagittarius. That's going to be like luck and love, like lucky in love. Yo, Venus in Sagittarius is like meeting in foreign places, like, or like hooking up with someone in like the back of a, I don't know, like somewhere that you travel to, like, and then you leave and come home. That's what I see with Venus in Sagittarius. It's very lucky. It's great. I think that this might be a time where people are feeling a little bit more vibrant. We'll still be in the eclipse energy, but Venus in Sag is actually quite nice. It's not very committal. It's more about having fun and enjoying ourselves. And holiday season parties will begin probably around that time. So I do think that that is something that we will see. You know what I also wanted to say about Mercury and Scorpio is like, I feel like secrets will be being more secrets will be being revealed. Yeah. Okay, then we're going to go into the middle of November. Mercury will enter Sagittarius. So Venus and Mercury will be in Sag around the same time. Oh my God, I love this. Just like in and amongst the time of like Scorpio, the depth, then we have like Mercury and Venus being like, okay, enough of that. That's like way too serious for me. Can we have some goddamn fun? Like, you know, so my bias is that I love Mercury and Venus and Sag. You know, Mercury and Sagittarius is like thinking big picture, very optimistic, and like what it's thinking about and the dreams and ideas that it's, you know, kind of thinking up, and the people it's communicating with. It feels like a lot of a broad conversation, or thinking about our new dreams and where we're going in the next years ahead. Venus in Sagittarius, I also feel like this is very beautiful in terms of like connecting with people, where actually we might learn a little bit more about finances, crossing like borders, etc. This reminds me a lot too of like the digital nomad visas. We might know about more coming through, or potentially we could even be learning about where our money is going abroad as taxpayers, etc., etc. I'm not going to get into that, but I do think that this is like planning for trips, planning for, I don't know. This is good to me. I like, but I'm so biased because I love that energy. I love it so much. Having more philosophical conversations is also really big with Mercury and Sag. Okay, we're gonna have later in the month the Sun will enter Sagittarius. So obviously that's on the 22nd. So, you know, we'll talk about that later. There are other transits that happen during this month, but those are some of the main ones that I wanted to talk about. We will obviously talk about what's happening in Sag season next. I think you guys can already feel I'm like ready. I'm like excited for Sagittarius season. But like, can't skip this. Scorpio's like, get back here. Get back here. Scorpio. Sag is like, come on, let's go. But no, I think it's going to be really good. There's going to be some big things happening astrologically. Obviously, I don't like to fearmonger, but it's really common for Scorpio season to want to pull us under. And it can be really hard to find the ability to come up for air. And so I want people to remember that, and, you know, think about the fact that like sometimes it's good to be in the depths and like feel your shit until you can't feel it anymore. And you have to come up for air. Like, you literally have to. You can't be down here in the depths struggling all the time. We need to come up. As probably all my millennial friends with Pluto and Scorpio, we're really good at this. So just reminding yourself of this, put together a toolkit for yourself to support yourself over this season. What do you need to do? Do you need to book in therapy? Do you need to get some energy healing? Do you need to set up a friend date once a week? Like, what do you have to do so that you can prepare to emotionally support yourself through this energy and time? Okay. You can also book a reading if you want some support. I am here for you. Or if you're local to Vancouver, I do in-person sessions. I do Reiki healing and also obviously astrology. So, you can book that as well. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to edit it and we'll put it out there. I hope that you guys have an amazing Scorpio season. Come on over to Instagram, iamcourtburns, TikTok, iamcourtburns, my business, Bravely Beautiful brand, if you want to know more about what's going on in my life and what things I'm offering. So that's all I have to say. I'm putting my hair down and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.